Hey everyone, welcome to Pillow Talk Unplugged for another episode. This episode is very, very special. We have a very special guest that's on here to talk about plugging into men's health tonight and getting his testimony. So I can't wait to bring him on. I am Stacy, CEO of Sashel Essence Spa. So if you're ever in the 757 area, please come and check me out. I have great services and great products that I create myself that you will love and enjoy. So I can't wait to get into this podcast tonight. This is a special episode. It's my season finale before I touch into mental health for next season. So let's get ready. I'm getting ready to bring my guests on. Hey.
Hey. Good evening.
Oh, wonderful. Well, our guest is here tonight and he has some wonderful things that he's going to share with us. I really, really appreciate you being on my show. To go ahead and just unplug a little bit about yourself. So before we get started, could you please let us know about yourself and where you're from?
Thank you. Well, again, my name is Landon Rashad, 37 years old. I'm Texas made, Texas raised, baby, right here in Dallas, Texas. 1986, that is. I'm a single man, no children. I'm in the auto finance industry as well as a retail investor. So I like my money to make money for me. And again, just want to thank Stacy from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful, grand, and just amazing opportunity. Y'all in for a treat tonight.
Wonderful. See, look, ladies, he already let y'all know he's single. So right after this podcast, I'm telling you, just tune in. You'll know where to find him because I'm pretty sure he has some social medias that you can follow him on and things like that. Are you on Facebook?
I am. You can follow me as Landon Slim King, Slim with 2 M's, Rashad. IG or Instagram, it is Landon Rashad, CEO. I'm on TikTok a little bit, but don't really mingle on that too much. So those are the 2 main places you can find me.
All right. That's wonderful. All right, Landon. So, I mean, you are like a walking testimony. And I mean, I am like so excited to just share this story. And I was so happy and thankful that you did have the opportunity to actually share your story with me, with my podcast, with my audience, to let us know the different things that you have went through this. I wouldn't say traumatic, but just this experience that you had. And like I said, this is about men's health. This particular show, I know for us as women, I go to the doctors like terribly. Like if it's a headache, I'm at the doctors. I'm like, I'm not feeling good. I'm going. Just recently, I got over COVID, so I felt like it was the end for me. I was like, oh my God, this is it. It was just crazy. But for men, you guys will just stick it out. Won't go to the doctors. I mean, we're pushing you. We're asking you. We see something is wrong. I just want to ask you this before we tap into your story.
Okay.
Why is it like that for men? Like, why do y'all not go to the doctors? Is it like a white coat syndrome thing going on?
That's a really, really good question. The best way I could kind of explain it is more of what I like to call the Superman complex, or the Superman mentality. Us men, we already internalize a lot of things we go through on a daily basis, from work to relationships to kids to just internal things we go through in our own lives. And so we are definitely great at compartmentalize things in our mind, emotions, and just focus on the task at hand. Make sure the wife is taken care of, or the missus taken care of, make sure the kids are taken care of, make sure the bills and everything is taken care of. Like I got everything for the work office. So I believe we are just really good at internalizing and compartmentalizing anything. We'll get through it. We'll be okay. We can shrug this off. Meanwhile, the missus is like, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. You need to go do this. Mm-hmm. And so we just sit back and we just kind of, again, going through the motions, just used to going through life until it's too late. So I do believe that is one area as men, we do need to do better with getting our check-ins, checking on our health, whether you're a diabetic or just different varieties of that. So yeah, we definitely need to step our game up. But I would say it's definitely due to that Superman complex.
Listen, that Superman complex is something, because I mean, I've had like my own brother. Yeah. Instead of him going to the doctors, he would rather call me. And I'm like, hey, brother, like, it's almost like you have to hold you guys' hand to kind of push you into kind of, hey, something is wrong, go get it checked out, you guys need to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really just put in my mind, like, this had to be some kind of Superman thing, like, why? So I know that you went through something, and I am so thankful that you took tonight to share that story with us. So all right, so before we get started, at this very moment, when you went through what you went through,
Right.
I can see now you're living a great, like, you're doing so well, and you don't even look like you've been touched with anything. Like, you look like you're at your healthiest.
Bless you. Bless you.
So when you got to this, getting to this point, how, like, now being in the healthy state, before we tap into your story, how is it for you on a daily basis?
Daily basis is no issue. Open diet. I mean, open regimen. I can eat any and everything, which is can't really tell, but I eat you at the house and home. And so just going through the daily routines of life, still work, still interact with friends, family, loved ones, and everything like that. So it's been a blessing. It's been a journey, but it's definitely been a blessing.
That's wonderful. Okay, Landon. So getting into your story, you went through what everyone, I mean, anyone, whether it's male, female, child, do not want to say that they've ever had to experience, but you actually went through that. And so that word, it just gets deep down in my skin, because I hate to say it, but you actually experienced cancer.
Yes.
And when you experienced your cancer, if you want to share with my audience, what type of cancer did you have?
So the type of cancer I had was a form of leukemia called CML, which stands for chronic myeloid leukemia. There's another form called AML, which is acute myeloid leukemia. But the version I had was chronic myeloid leukemia, to where it was more, I guess if this is the word, healable. So when it comes to a healing factor, so where that way that my chemotherapy was in the form of a pill. And when I began, it was called Gleevec, 400 milligrams. And what Gleevec did is specifically targeted the cancer cells in my body, versus when it comes to acute, which is all we know, just the regular radiation that targets every cell in your body, whether it's hair, body, internal, external. And that's where you begin to see the decomposition and the breaking down of the human body. So my form was just a chronic. And when I was diagnosed back in 2009, the doctors at that time told me that I was the youngest person in the United States to, of course, test the drug. But they tried to instill fear in me that I would have this for the rest of my life. But being a Christian man, being a fisher of men for Christ, I knew that this was going to be a journey. I knew that this was going to bless others. And I knew that it was more of a mental thing than it was a physical and emotional thing, that if I thought death, then death would have become me. But in my journey, I've learned to not depend on Gleevec, the pill itself, but more of depend on God, who is the author and finisher of our faith.
Look at that. I mean, that's 100%. Like, I love that. So when you said that they had it in your mind to believe that this is a forever thing, at that very moment, them telling you that, is that something, because when you have that mind over matter, as soon as you find out something's wrong, it's like it instantly take over. So when you initially found out, and by you using your faith to kind of conquer that, do you feel that that's what helped you to not let it take over your body as if it could? Because some people just, their whole lifespan just go from 0 to nothing, like 100 to 0 in no time.
Yes. To answer your question, I wholeheartedly agree. It's funny, not to get too deep, but God used a person in my life that we don't see eye to eye to speak through me, and speak to them, to speak to me, to give me a message. And that person happened to have been my mother, to the point where I'll never forget it. I was standing in the kitchen here in Texas, just getting out of the hospital, recouping and recovering. And I never forget, she turned to me and told me, well, the Spirit told me through her, like, this isn't going to defeat you. That God has the ability to take your cancer and make it canceled, and to not let it defeat you, that it's all mental, that if you believe you're going to die, if you believe you're going to pass away, if you believe this cancer is going to triumph over you, then it will. And I believe at that very moment that seed, that nugget in my life, it really put my life on a positive, more trajectory where now, yes, God provided me the physical pills to be able to utilize and to make me feel better. But I know it's with that the faith through that seed, through that pill was the real reason why I began healing and became better.
Wow, look at that. We have a guest on, Miss Keisha Peace. That's my girl. And she said faith has to play a big part in your healing. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
And I'm not to put Keisha's business on play, but that's my sister. I hold her close to my heart. She's also a survivor. And
Beautiful.
when I say she is doing her thing,
beautiful.
Sister is doing her thing. So I really am appreciative that you came on to share your story because it makes a difference to anyone that's going through this. So let's play back a little bit. And we have a guest, Shelly, and she said, hey, thank you for tuning in. So we're going to rewind back a little bit because I want to know, because like I said, men do not go to the doctors. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that this is something that might have been, you have been dealing with, but Landon, did you have any signs to tell you, hey, I'm not feeling well? Because sometimes these things don't just hit you. Sometimes there's things that lead up to you knowing.
Yeah.
Did you have any signs to say I need to go to the doctor or I have to go?
From my memory, my recollection, just off the top of my head, no. It didn't really hit me until a few days before. So let me make that make sense. We're going to jump back to 2009, December 15th through December 21st of 2009. Everybody knows December 13th is my birthday. Just turned 37. Sagittarius, we the greatest, gods amongst men.
Okay, happy belated.
Yes, ma'am. But that week, that 6 days really changed the direction of my life. Prior to December 15th, I do believe this cancer was put in my life to really slow me down and to, again, just to point my life in the right direction. Being in my reprobated mind, I was running from God. Like I knew my calling. I knew the person I was supposed to be, who God breathed me and created me to be. But I was simply running from God at that time of my life. You know, being young, early 20s, ripping and running the streets. But during that time frame, I vaguely remember just mild aches and pains. So, you know, as men, it's the flu. It's the fever. I'll take some medicine and shrug it off.
Right.
But as time went on, I noticed my body was getting weaker and weaker. No matter what regimens I ate or drank, no matter what supplements I took to intake my body, I just continued to get weaker and weaker to the point where that Saturday I remember I went to the club and I just wasn't myself. I wasn't energetic. I wasn't just myself. I knew something was wrong, a little off. But again, being a man, I'll be all right. Shrug it off. I'll deal with it tomorrow, the next day, or the next day. So it wasn't until right after my birthday, I went home and I was coming in the house. Actually, I went to go see my mother and I was coming in the house and literally I passed out. Like just went black, walking in the door, just cold-blooded, went black. And when I came to, I was already in the hospital. What was told to me at that time was, y'all see, I'm chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate to that speak.
I mean, he is something, isn't he? I'm telling you, ladies, he's giving y'all some signals here. Go ahead.
But at that time, I was told that I was pale white. Like I wasn't the skin tone. Like my skin and my melanin was completely white as a ghost. And so at that time, they began to do studies. They began to draw blood. And they came to the conclusion that it was a mutation in my bone marrow. And I'm just showing you how good God works. That what it was a mutation in my bone marrow. And if anybody knows anything about medical or anything like that, your red blood cells derive from your bone marrow.
Right.
And so this mutation in my bone marrow had a mutation in my bone, but didn't have bone cancer. Look at God.
Right.
That mutation told my body to reproduce more white blood cells than red blood cells. So to go even deeper, Red blood cells are the cells that carry oxygen to and through your body, and white blood cells are the ones that fight off the infection. So this mutation told my body to reproduce and produce more white blood cells to fight off infections than to carry oxygen through my body. So with that is where I passed out, because I didn't have enough red blood cells. Even to the point where, as I was laying in a hospital bed, again, December 15th to December 21st of 2009, when it came to the CT scans or the x-rays of my body, my stomach, now I'm a slender man. I'm about 175. I'm a very slender man, but it was to the point where the blood mass in my stomach literally made me look 7 to 8 months pregnant. Yet my stomach was hard as the concrete outside. To the point where the x-ray scans had nothing but black mass on them. And the black mass represents blood, which means to say that I was internally bleeding on the inside. Technically, I'm not supposed to be here. If anybody knows about internally bleeding, you're dead.
Right, Landon. What in the world?
Yes. And so I'll never forget it. That Monday, December 15th through, I believe it was that Monday, December 21st, my symptoms were getting worse and worse and worse. Until the 17th, I remember it was that Wednesday. One thing about God is, in the way he'll get his glory and to slow you down, he will literally lay you on your back. You can't look left. You can't look right. All you can do is look up and look at him. And give him the glory and give him the praise. I'll never forget that Wednesday, I cried out to God. I said, God, I don't want to die like this. I don't want my life to be this. God, forgive me for the anger and the rage and just the mishaps and misdoing I've come against you and your people. And I asked for you to heal me. And it was at that moment, instantly that moment, the very next day, that next morning, the doctors came in and started seeing positive signs of life. Came back with that same x-ray that had black mass, blood completely filling my stomach, came back and said, Mr. Rashad, I don't know what's going on. God must really love you. You must have angels by your bedside. And he showed me a picture of that same x-ray or a different x-ray. The masses were gone. They couldn't describe it. They couldn't understand it. The only thing they could say was, well, maybe your body reabsorbed the blood back in you.
Wow. And they don't even know that was just spiritually given to you. You have with she said, love you, Whitney. Best friend. Whitney, okay. And then we have Danielle said hi. I hope I'm saying it Daniela or Danielle. I hope I'm saying it okay. Sorry, because I'll be butchering names. Oh my God. That is like instantly. And you would never think at that moment that prayer that you said was going to be your relief for you to actually start healing. So after, and listen, sometimes doctors are amazed at how our bodies, but only you know how your body is and you know what you're feeling. And if it's not time, it's not time. That's just will. Right. You get what I'm saying? So these things have a way of showing itself, but every time we're stuck on medicine, a lot of people are not spiritual. So they don't believe that that's a faith that could actually keep you here. So once that mass went away, okay, and now they're thinking like, oh my God, what happened? His body just made a whole 360 overnight on us. Right. Once they decided that, did they ever come up with what to give you? Because at first you said when you got in there, they really were running tests and everything. So they actually came up with the diagnosis at that time.
They had a prognosis at the beginning, but they didn't have a diagnosis until after, once everything kind of settled. And let me kind of backtrack to go forward a little bit. During that time when I was in the hospital bed, I couldn't move. Like I'm not going to say in a vegetable state, but I was literally on my back where I couldn't move. All I could do was look up. So after that, I began to be able to get up and walk, be able to get up and talk more, have more energy throughout the day, to where once they ran a test at the end of the week, that's where it was determined, were derived in my bone marrow, in my bone, where it was a mutation. And that's where they did more deeper tests once they solidified that and came up where it was a form of leukemia called chronic, again, CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. And
Mm-hmm.
so that they wanted to, there was a new drug on the market at that time, which is, we know our government and how they roll things out. But at that time, the new drug on the market was Gleevec.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where they put me on. But again, they tried to, I'm not gonna say they deliberately tried to instill fear in me, but that's at that time was where they told me, well, Mr. Rashad, you're doing great. You're doing better. You're progressing. This is what we want you on. We want you to test it out. And we really feel that this is really going to benefit you. It's going to help you, and it's going to further you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that began the journey of healing.
Wow. So that to me is amazing. And we have Concetta. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, because y'all know I'm butchering names. But no, she said, won't he do it? He will. Let me tell you, he has miraculous ways of turning things around to the point where it's like almost mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So after you got the medication, what was the time frame that they wanted you to take it in order for you to start seeing progress in your health?
For the rest of my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They told me I was the youngest person in the United States to test this drug. And so because there wasn't enough clinical trials to say, okay, after 5 years, you're good. After 10 years, you're good. They pretty much told me because it was new, it would be for the rest of my life. And so I took that. I went home knowing my faith. I said, okay. It took some days. It was at the beginning. I couldn't really be around family because, again, my immune system was so weak. You know, as you know, cancer, leukemia, it breaks you down from the inside.
Yes.
And so I had to wear a mask back then. I couldn't really be around family, those who were sick and all that. So I had to be very meticulous and very careful until my body got strong enough and taking this pill. So where they instructed me that I had to take it once a day, whether it's morning, noon, night. So for myself, I picked that I would take it at night due to, as you know, as we sleep at night, your body is in a rejuvenated state where it's healing itself. It's catching itself up on rest and things like that. So I came to the conclusion, you know, once a good healthy dinner, again, open diet, I didn't have any restrictions. Once I eat and take the pill, as I was sleeping and laying still, this would work, filter through my body. And that's become day to day to the point where I can say as of 2011, 100 of 100 cells were cancer free. And I've been in remission ever since.
Wow, look at that. Hey,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
telling you, that is amazing. I love that. Okay, so Whitney, that's what I'm gonna say, because you clarified that for me. She said that's how I was when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. And let me tell you, I'm so grateful that you're here to talk about it. My mom has sarcoidosis, and when I say it's the hardest thing to deal with,
Wow.
it just attacks your lungs, and we didn't know, and we could have lost her many of times behind that. So I listen. I'm definitely, giving you your praises, because you definitely beat that with the sarcoidosis. It's something serious. Anyone that has to deal with initial illness and they're beating it and they're living with it is like amazing, because those are things that attack you and it's hard on the body. We have Ashanti. I think I'm saying it right. Ashanti said, praise God. Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you, your faith is awesome, Landon.
Thank you.
After you had to take this medication, did it give you any illness, like sickness? Because every medication has side effects. You said that you're the first one to try this. So now I would have been, listen, I'm a hypochondriac. I'd have been scared to death. Like, hold on, you're not going to give me just anything. Right. How did you feel? Like, did it give you any side effects, or did you feel anything from it?
There was a bit of nausea, a bit of stomach pain, because 400 milligrams, that's pretty heavy. We used to take in 50 to 100 gram, aspirin tablets. This is 400. So on an empty stomach, it hits you. It hits you. It makes you queasy, makes you weak, makes you lightheaded. So those were as far as the side effects, if you would say, from it. Outside of that, again, open diet, open regimen. Beverages, I had to stay away from. I believe it was grapefruit juice. It was something in it that it just would counteract with the medicine. I believe anything that was mango related, I believe so. And these off the top of my head, I don't really drink these drinks, but and so those are some of the side effects, but nothing too heavy.
Oh wow. Well, that's more like affect. It sounds like it's more reactive to citrus, if that's anything, because most of those things
Yeah.
are citrusy. Whitney said, absolutely, it can attach itself to any organ in my body. Yeah, that's sarcoidosis for you. It will do that. I mean, most of these illnesses, they will. It's like they attack the organs. Like
Yeah.
as soon as you get it, that's the main thing that it goes for. So speaking of that, when you so after you're taking the medication and they're telling you have to be on this for the rest of your life, I just have one question. Are you still on this medication?
No. Well, I am, but I haven't taken it in 3 years, 4 years.
Wow. So do you feel better opposed to taking it or taking it or not taking it?
Not taking it.
Wow. So when you were taking it, did it like affect anything? Like, especially for men, anytime y'all take medicine, it start hitting other organs. Like, if you know what I'm talking about. So did it affect any of those areas or like make you feel?
It did bring a sense of fatigue. And then again, a sense of emptiness. But it was just a daily grind, a daily struggle, a daily journey where I could eat a full course meal, 4 or 5 course meal, and still feel weak. You know,
Right.
I could take an energy supplement or things like that and still feel weak. So it took some time for me to regain my strength. Now again, I'm now 175 pounds. Back then in 2009, I was maybe 134 soaking wet. So I've been a slim man my whole life, but with the cancer, I even dropped, below that. So it did take some time for me to regain my energy, regain my strength. And at that time, I was going to the doctor first it was every month. Then I think because the diagnosis, everything was my blood was coming back better and better. It was consistent. My numbers were coming down. They were regulating itself. I believe after a month, every month it went to 3 months. But then after 3 months, it went to 6 months. So it cut down to just twice a year. And as continually, even after 2012, my numbers stayed consistent. My numbers stayed really well. They fluctuated just a little bit, but nothing alarming to the point where, I would be back in a hospital. Back then, the doctor did a test run just to see if I didn't take the pill for a certain, period of time, how would it affect my body?
Yeah.
Can't really remember the time frame, but I do remember going back, and it did influx a little bit, but not too much, nothing too detrimenting, to the point where I just continued doing it. So let me be a good steward over what God has provided for me.
Right.
To the point where it was just like, God, you've given me the provision of this pill, and this pill isn't the one that's healing me. It is you through this pill. And we've already been on a test run. So I literally made a conscious decision in my mind to just stop.
Wow.
No doctor said it. Parents didn't say it. Family and friends didn't say it. It was me, because my faith wasn't in that pill. It was in my praise.
Look at that. And we have Whitney said, I thank God every day I got myself off the medication. You just said that. You took yourself off. There's been times that I have taken myself off of medication, but again, I'm a hypochondriac. So taking myself off of medication is not always my best thing. I'm like, nope, I need what I got to do. So when you taking yourself off of that, I want to ask you something. During this time so you lost weight, you just found out that you had this different form of leukemia, and how did it affect you mentally? Like, that would take a mental and emotional toll on someone.
Initially, it was detrimenting to know that cancer doesn't really run in my family. It's more, heart disease and high blood pressure, hypertension, things like that. To know that I had cancer, out of all things, something that we've all in this country, even back then, seen it is once that word comes in, it takes you down. Like, there is no recovery.
Right.
So initially, psychologically, the enemy was already there. You're gonna die. You're not gonna see 2010. This is where you're gonna lay, and this is where you're gonna die. And it wasn't until God sowed that seed and spoke through the person that I call us the ram in my bush, the person that I really couldn't and still to this day cannot stand. But God used and took that person, spoke to them to speak to me that this cancer is going to be canceled. That if I believe in life, I will have life. But I believe in death. If I believe I'm going to die, if I believe this cancer is going to take me down, if I believe the sickness is going to take me out, then that's going to be the end result. So for me, it was a training of your mind. And it wasn't easy. Day to day, you literally have to, ailing and weak, you have to tell yourself, Lord, with your stripes, I am healed. Every day, Lord, with your blood, wash me, cover me, so that way I may come out white as snow. Every single day, even when people are having pity on you, even when people are turning their backs on you, oh, you sick, oh, I can't be around you, I'm okay. It was a struggle at first, but in the end, it was a blessing, and I was absolutely thankful of what I went through. And I tell everybody, I was not supposed to see 2010. So some of these people that's on your live in the audience, I've known them, like you, Stacey, I've known you for a decade plus. A lot of y'all would have never met me. But God's will was for me to still be here, so that way I can speak to, and hopefully I'm blessing somebody with this message, with this testimony, that the enemy can try, but he won't triumph.
Right. Listen to that. I love that about it. And I'm telling you, you are helping someone tonight. I have Letitia here. She said, you are what you think. Exactly. And I know sometimes when you believe that you're sick, and you will be sick. And she said, you better say that. Letitia is a good friend of mine. She is a minister as well. So I know her hearing this is like, yes. So she also has a podcast that comes on Tuesday nights, and her podcast, I have you like boohoo tears. I'm telling you, like you be in there like, I need tissue. But it's just that it definitely, if you were to be on her show, this show would definitely take off on her platform, because this is her show is based on testimonies.
Wow.
And you are a testimony. Like, it is such a blessing to have you here, my friend. When you said preach, friend, yes, because I'm looking at you now. Listen, we met after you went through this, and that's how I come about knowing your story. But I looked at you and did not even think for a minute that you have even went through something like this. So when you were going through this trial of, your sickness, did you see more of your family support, more of your friends support? Did you see people pull back? Were you feeling alone?
It was a mixture of all the above. I had those come close to me, and I had those withdraw. And it's just the human psyche. Oh, he's sick. I don't want to be near him. I don't want to catch what he's got. And it's more of a, I guess I'd say a third party psychedelic kind of point of view. As I look back now, and this isn't to blast anybody, but to me, that was a weak mentality to have. But I'm grateful for the people that God has kept in my life back then and to this day. So I'll definitely say that it definitely takes a toll on your mind, and it's a battle day in and day out.
Wow. And I know that you are such a person to keep things to yourself, like private, and I respect that. That's why I was so thankful when you came on the show, friend. I was like, okay, he's going to share. Let me get ready for this fire. Make him the season finale, like the big bang out for the season. So once you said that some of your people pull back, and with this journey, as you meeting people as you're going along and you regained your strength, did you ever share, before I get to that? Oh, she said, I'd love to have him on. See, look at you. You're an icon already. Look, let me tell you. You're going to have to get ready, because I'm going to hook you up with my girlfriend, okay? I'm going to give you information. Would you be able to share your testimony on her podcast?
Most definitely.
Listen, you already, it's that voice, Landon. It's that voice. All right. And I have here, your friend Whitney said, I'm so happy that you came into my life, friend. I thank God every day for you. Yes, he is very inspirational. I have learned a lot from you over the years. You have great advice. So you check me sometimes, like, look, need to stay in line, get back over here. Right. And then we have, Ken Trey said, bless up, King. Yeah. And so when you said that some people, and you're meeting people after you got through this trial, and you're you have to regain and learn yourself again. It's almost like you're relearning yourself. Did you share this story with people that came into your life, or you didn't feel the need to let them know?
No, I'm not going to say I hid my testimony, but I realized to a degree, excuse me, that everybody can't handle your testimony. And there are a lot of people in your corner that just want to know the playbook and not necessarily there to help you. So you have to be very cautious and very meticulous on who you share your testimony with. So what I try to do and try to illustrate, and even to this day, is I try to let the light that God gave me and instilled in me, I try to let that shine. And I try to let and again, I'm not trying to be spiritual or biblical tonight on your cast, but
please do.
I try to let the fruits of the Spirit be my testimony, my witness, love, joy, peace, to where I got to a point in my healing and in my journey. I said, okay, God, whoever you bring in my life, let your light shine through me so that I can be a blessing to them, with love, with peace, with joy. And even with you, Stacey, there have been some times that you never really asked me what was wrong.
Right.
But our friendship, our love, the peace that you saw in me, that really helped you in your journey and in your walk in your life. And it wasn't until certain people that I really felt comfortable with, or God instructed me, say, hey, I need you to sow a seed. I need you to speak a word to this individual and use your testimony. Those would be the only individuals I would share it with.
Wow, that is so amazing. And see, that's why I said I did not know. So even now, as friends, when you're friends with someone and you know them, certain things you still don't always tell your friends.
Right.
So now as I'm getting to know you more and more, I'm like, wow, he really defeated. Here I am crying over a little headache. And he, you know what I'm saying? He overcame something that people believe that once they hear that word, that's it. It's the end. It's down. No more. You know what I'm saying? You have Shelly Ann said more than a decade of friendship. I know. Listen, you got long-term friendships. You working on 10 years, 11 years. You know, that's good when you can have someone in your life that could share and sow those seeds, because sometimes I feel like you sharing and doing the things that you've done and speaking on certain things, even in our conversations, you still just always keep this positive light. And look what you have went through. Do you feel like what you have went through have made you like a stronger and better person, or more aware of certain things that you do?
Most definitely. It's pushed me to the point, and we've all been young. We've all been in our 20s. We've all been out there doing our thing, ripping and running the streets, where to the point where I can't speak for everybody, so I'll speak for myself, where we partied or we did intake alcohol or certain beverages in our body and just different substances in our body, to where I like to say, well, we lived on the edge. For me, it really transcended my mindset to appreciate life more and abundantly, to the point where, as I look back, I was never supposed to see 2010. That's what, 13 years ago? That's what 2024. I was never, and I'll say this, and I carry this every day of my life, I was never supposed to see 2010. With that, I carry that every single day, that enjoy life, live life to the fullest. Those who God bring in your life, love them, cherish them, learn from them, but love them, respect them, cherish them. And I'll speak to this with you. That's why I've been the way I have been with you, and like Shelly and Contrae and others, that when God calls me home, when my last day on this earth is, I want you all and everybody watching us to know that I love you. I don't want any tears at my funeral. Sorry, taking this left, but I want everybody to know that, hey, Landon lived life, Landon loved God, and Landon loved God's people. So on a daily, I try to walk in that light and walk in life so that people see that people don't even see me. People see God, and people see God's light through me, and that I can be an impact, and I can be a positive impact in people's lives.
Look at that. See, listen, you have me. Listen, my friend Tamara here said, that's my sister. It's not my friend. That's like my sister. She said, God is good. Yes, he is. And look, you
Right.
have me so inspiring. The minute I get up from here, I'm ready to walk a triumph. Like I'm about to be walking 10 miles down the road. Like if he did it, I can do it. So I know that as you got through your healing and everything, and you started to, get back into your life, and now how many years would you say, or how many months did it say for you to feel back to being Landon, and just being yourself again? Because it would have took me down. I'd have been so mad and depressed in myself. Like,
Yeah. That's a really good question. It took some years.
Wow.
I'm able to sit here and boldly and confess life and love and all that, but it was some dark times.
Wow.
It was some people who are no longer in my life detached themselves from me because whatever reason, and that hurt. I'm human. I'm a man. I'm a vessel. I'm a king. It hurt. Family kind of pushed back on me a little bit. So it took some years, and there were a lot of days. It was literally me and God. It wasn't my mama. It wasn't my father. It wasn't my siblings. It wasn't best friends. It was me and God. God, order my steps. What path and what trajectory you want me to go on? Because ultimately, your will for my life is ultimately what you're going to have for me. I can pray any prayer until I'm blue in the face, but ultimately, what's going to come to pass is your will for my life. And so I tell people all the time, I had to get naked with God. I had to get transparent, and I had to get all this anger and rage and frustration, what people did, what people didn't do to me, what my mama did, what my mom I had to get all that and literally buckle down like Adam was in the garden, just in the cool brisk of the evening. God, it's me and you. We gonna walk through this thing called life, step by step, minute by minute, day by day. So it took some years. I would say I went in remission 2012. So from 2010 to maybe 2013, it really was an adjustment of mindset, an adjustment of lifestyle, to where I had to get it in my mind, like, this isn't going to conquer you. This isn't going to take you out, but you're going to use this to be a testimony and a blessing to inspire and uplift and motivate somebody else. So in that time period, my prayer changed to, God, heal me from this cancer, to God, if your will is for this cancer to reside in my life, allow it to stay in my life so it can be a blessing to somebody else that's in need. It may not be cancer that's in there that they're facing, they're battling, but if it's depression, if it's loss of loved ones, if it's financial, if it's spiritual, God, use me as a tool to sow a seed or to water, so that way you get the increase and the glory in all of it.
Look at that, man. And Tamara said, it's the God in me. I know it. I love that song. Like, I'll get to singing and you be sitting here like, girl, calm down. And Shelly Ann said, yes, we love you too, Pooh. And Kentrey said, amen. And so, and Tamara said, you're a healer. This is a healer's testimony. Yes, it is, because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it and I'm like, man, this is making me look at things differently, because I will admit, sometimes my faith just, they say it's a mustard seed, but I be bringing it down to like a salt grain, because I'm just like, what is going on, Stace? Like, you got to get yourself together and understand that you have to walk in his light in order for it to work. And he will show you some amazing things. So just here, listening to your story, I'm just like, wow, he conquered something, like I said, that most people cannot live with. And some people are not here to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So after to 2013, did you start going back out, enjoying life? How did it impact you, like physically, like for your appearance, to say, am I ready to start mingling with people? Or did you have like any sense of insecurities during this time?
Oh yeah, I was out there doing my thing even before remission. Hey, I was getting it. I was doing my thing on the dating scene, in the clubs, traveling, doing my thing. So I try my best to not to defeat me, not to let me seclude myself to just, so what was me. And so it did take a little minute. It did take a little minute to just regain who I was, and also get a more better perspective of who I am and who God called me to be.
Right. Okay. I love that. And you, so in that process and after you got healed, did you date or were you in a relationship? Because I never asked you if you were in a relationship during this time that you got sick, but did you date after that, or did you feel a little taken back, like I'm not ready to go out there yet? Hold on, let me kind of, you know.
I dated, but we use the nowadays terms. I was in situationships.
Okay.
I was young-minded, insecure, immature, just ripping and running the streets. So yes, I was we'll say mixing and mingling. I was out there mixing and mingling, y'all. And so I'm already slim by nature, but no, I didn't share my testimony with those I was with or those I dated, because there were some things internally I was still broken on the inside.
Right.
So how can I use what God had for me to be a testimony to be a witness to in my brokenness? But again, that goes back to mindset, because that's where God does his best work with broken pieces.
Right.
So yes, I was dating, mixing and mingling. And it took a while to really get out there, really step out there, put my foot one in front of the other, to get to the man that I am today and still growing to become.
Look at that. And I love that for you. So now that you have, did your thing, and I have my girlfriend here, Imani. Hey, honey, she stepped in. We again, anybody that's coming in, we just tapping on some men's health, and he shared his testimony by defeating this big word that everybody just hate. But after, dealing with all of that and coming to your mindset, like, I'm good, do you feel differently about doctors now? Like, do you go to the doctors, Landon? Like, if you feeling something, do you say, all right, it's time to go? Or are you still in that mindset? Because like I said, men don't like doctors. But do you still decide, now that I've went through this, I need to start paying attention to my health and listen to my body? Do you start to implement that in your regimen?
I'm going to be a man. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. No, I don't. It's more of an alert, but it's still to the point. It's like, if I beat that, this little headache can do. This little stomach ache and it's a foot pain here and there will go away. So it's still to a degree of a no. That's just the nature and makeup of a man. Again, that Superman complex. But I do try to, if it's too severe and too painful, yes, I do attend to it.
Listen, I mean, even after this, I'm like, maybe this will make a, but you said no. Even if after a headache, no. If a stomach, listen, after anything, I would be scared to death. Like, every little thing would just, but again, like you said, it's the difference in a man of how you feel, now, of how you can control it. And I mean, your faith alone is like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I have Imani here. She said, yes, I'm going to have to watch this back. Yes, you do, because I'm telling you, anyone that's out here that's in a relationship with their significant other, married to a man specifically, it's just they don't like going to doctors. And it's like, it's almost like you have to hold them by the hand to make them go. It's like, come on. So
that's true.
I want to ask you something, and I want to see, are you ever afraid of it coming back?
No.
No, I'm
not, because of that prayer I prayed, because of what I told God. Remember, I told God, if this, allow me to keep this cancer, if this is going to be a benefit and a blessing to others. So if it comes back, that means there's a purpose in this. I told myself a long time ago, and I'm going to reiterate, it's no longer about what I want for my life. That went out the window. It's only merely, God, what is it that you have for me? Because that's what's going to come to pass. That's what's going to manifest. And those are the steps to be ordered that's going to be taken. So if it does come back, I pray. And if it does come back and it takes me out, I'm not afraid, because I pray that I've lived a life. Sorry, I don't want to get emotional. I pray I've lived a life that people can go back and say, I saw God in that young man. On a daily conversations, I don't see Landon Rashad, I see God.
Right.
I pray that in my walk, in my talk, people see God. So if tonight, after this podcast, the good Lord calls me home, am I afraid? because I believe I've left a legacy of love, laughter, and life. And that's ultimately what I try to be, the best version of me, day in and day out, to Contrae, to Shelly, to you, to Wit, to all those of you who haven't spoke. I try to let my light and my love that God is shine through me. So no, if tonight's the last night and y'all wake up tomorrow and see the good Lord has called me home, I'm at peace with that.
Well, you're not going anywhere. Letitia said, God's will, nothing more, nothing else, nothing less. And I have Shaquana here. Shaquana Brown, thank you for tuning in. She put her hands up because, yes, I mean, he's awesome. She said, you got many, many more years, brother. No worries. I'm telling you, like, you don't even know. I'm over here like, I'm going to need some tissue soon because Landon is really touching my heart. I'm like, listen, our conversation's moving forward. I'll be like, oh, hold on. Let me, but it's always great talking with you. And like I said, I've learned a lot from you. And because you came on the show tonight, someone else may have learned to look at life differently. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes we just walk around and we're so down on ourselves and so worried about, oh, this is not working out. It could be the smallest things, Right. But you actually conquered and you're living life and you're worry free. You know how good that feels to be worry free? Like, look, I'm not even thinking about that. What it is. And Ashanti said, God always has shined through you, Landon. Yes, he definitely, it's like you walk it and you could see it. Cause like I said, I would have never known. I'm sitting here every day having a conversation and I'm like, he's giving me life, and I'm pretty sure you do that for others. And so when in this moving forward, and did you ever think to kind of like have it to where you can share your testimony all over to give other people or give back to anyone in that cancer community?
It's a good question. Yes, I've always wanted to. Have I done the work and due diligence? No, I have not. So, but I'm definitely get on that. I'm pat myself and spank myself on that one. Yes, I would love to definitely be an inspiration of light, of life and light, be a positive impact. So yeah, wholeheartedly, the Leukemia Lymphoma Societies, cancer research, breast cancer, the Susan G. Komen Walk, Ronald McDonald, definitely. I would definitely love to give back.
Look at that. And you still have time to do that. I mean, there's a lot of people out here that is just, afraid to talk about these things. And by you coming on and sharing this, I mean, look, you already got another show you about to do. I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you information because it's time to roll. You about to be inspiring. Wow. It's great to hear a testimony. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I have another guest. Thank you, Naisha. I'm sorry. Listen, I butchered your name. Naisha. Okay, sorry, I butchered names, but thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I love it. And see, I could go on and on and on. Look how fast that hour done went by. Wow. Landy, you were such a great inspiration tonight. And I really, really, really thank you for coming on and sharing your story, given the fact that, you're a person that it's private and I respect that. But you did take this time out to say, hey, this is me. You know what I'm saying?
Bless you.
Shaquana said, look at that, Landon. There goes a potential calling for you, friend. Absolutely. I mean, you never know. This just brung on something else tonight. Like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Wow. So you are definitely, I definitely thank you. I praise you. I mean, I am so happy that you worked through this and it's good for you, that you actually had a chance to share. I mean, look, I couldn't even tell. You just the life of the party.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and I think you're so humble. So you are my last show for this season. I am touching into mental health. I had to go out with a bang. Yeah, so I'm touching into mental health next season. I mean, I have shows from postpartum to listen, life after weight loss. It is going to be covered on some things that it definitely touch into mental health. We have went through something as a nation, and I feel like we still haven't recovered. a lot of people still haven't recovered from just the pandemic, and we're going through so much. And it's like it's just a reoccurring thing. So I think it's very good that we tap into some things, and also I'm implementing self-care as well. So I'm just going back and forth. So definitely tune in for the next season. And Letitia said, congratulations, Stacy. Thank you. I'm sending Landon to you, honey. I am, because he's definitely going to be on your show. And I'm going to be sitting there rooting you right on. And we had Tamara. She said, it's like a prophecy of God's promise. Keep shining your light, sir. Look, ain't that deep? I like that. Listen. That was deep, right?
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
She's amazing. But guess what? She is Sagittarian too. Yeah. December 16th. Look, y'all right up in here. Connection. Yeah. Look at that. She just celebrated a birthday. So happy belated birthday,
happy belated birthday. My fellow Sagittarius.
Yes, she definitely had a birthday, and I was just so happy to see that she was able to live it through and enjoy herself. So I still got to meet up with you now that I'm COVID free, because I thought I was going to die. I was like, girl, you got to get it together. So now hearing your story tonight, I think I won't take my illnesses so serious.
She was sounding like me, y'all, and this is my natural tone.
Okay. No, seriously, I was just going through it, but you got me through it. And she said, happy belated birthday. Oh, tomorrow. She said, happy belated tomorrow. Yes. And I'm telling you, she said, I love these comments. Everybody engaged. I just love it. Thanks, love. Same to you. I'm telling you, it's just awesome. And I think everyone who has tuned into my show, without my audience, I just would not have gotten as far as I did. And I'm even more pumped to go into my next season. Like, this is so awesome. And I thank you. And I'm hoping that later on in the future, I can have a co-host. Who knows? It might be Landon with that voice. You'll bring all my audience.
All you gotta do is call me.
Yes, absolutely. So I am definitely ready for a new season. Like I said, Landon, thank you. You get some birthday shout outs. Tamara's getting one too. Happy belated. Yes. And look, Shelly Ann said 2024 is a blessing. Listen, I said that's my year of transformation. So whatever you want to transform yourself into, this is the year. 2024 is the year to do it. Like, I think we all got to like a tired point. So now this is your time to shine. So Landon, is there anything that you would like to say to our audience before closing out tonight?
Yes, thank you to just everybody, first of all, tuning in, those who commented, even those who are just viewing, and to those directly in my life, just know that I love you and God loves you. I hope that you have a better understanding of why the way I am on a day-to-day basis, why I love so much, why I'm so hard on y'all, why I pour so much into you. Because since life was almost taken from me, I try to do my best every single day to give life to those in my life. So to old coworkers, Contray, to you, Stacey, those I've known over a decade plus, I love each and every one of you day in and day out. And again, even to those that's just meeting me, coming in my life, bless you. Thank you. And I love you.
See, look. And so I love it. Shaquana says, see, Landon, told you about that voice insider. Listen, I tell them all the time. So I'm right there with you. And Shelly Ann said, transform now before the year. Listen, I'm looking out, turning over, sending away, because I'm just done with it. I'm like, look, we got to have some good time for the new year. And I have Miss Bo, is
Epiphany.
it? Okay, listen, I told you I butcher names. All right, so sorry. So now she said, amen. Listen, I love it. I'm so happy that everyone came on to support you. You have a great following. So listen, don't be a stranger. Landon's guests. Come on for future shows. I'm telling you, my shows be turned up. They be nice. And sometimes we get a little giggly in here. It's just all about being your natural self. So I thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We have been unplugged tonight. Season 2 will be on at the end of January, and I have great shows. I can't wait to kick off. So make sure you tune in. Thank you, Landon, again. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, everybody.
Bless
Bye.
y'all. Thank y'all.